When I first started my journey with Attack on Titan over 7 years ago, who knew that the events of this series would lead to what would become the season? Who knew that Eren Yeager would be responsible for the death of one of the most beloved characters of all time in AOT and turn his back on the people who had at one point considered his dear childhood friends? Final season was full of surprises. I'm sure many watching had no clue it would happen, but the surprises didn't stop with the writing. It also manifested itself in a move many people consider to be daring, a studio change. Out with the old of the proven and beloved Wit Studios, known for producing the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, The Ancient Magus' Bride, and The Great Pretender, in with a new semi-proven studio, MAPPA, who are known for producing relatively unknown sleeper hits like Inuyashiki, Zombieland Saga, Dororo, Banana Fish, and at the time, a had-yet-to-be-released amazing hit for the studio, Jujutsu Kaisen. Expect a video on that soon as well. So, were the surprising twists a good thing? Did the change from Wit to MAPPA work out? We'll be discussing that along with a myriad of other topics. This is my review of Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1. Let's get into it. Starting off, I think we have to dive into the studio change from Wit to MAPPA and if that paid off. Well, I think I speak for most people in saying that it pretty much, it did. Speaking strictly of the 2D elements, Final Season delivers on everything the first 3 seasons set out to achieve, and at the same time, it is able to iterate and grow the art style and direction to fit that of MAPPA's own color palettes and general style, in a way that makes sense for the general overall story. Many years have passed since the ending of Season 3, and now the characters and world are just a little bit older, some more taller, some may look more mature, and most all of them are showing new haircuts to back up that latter of those statements. Yes, the anime doesn't look like Wit's AOT, but at the same time, the tone of the show and the massive visual changes that were naturally demanded from the story's approach and tone, it made that change seem natural anyways. In other words, the studio change really didn't matter in a more objective sense, as there would have likely been changes anyways if Wit were to helm this project's animation. But depending on what circles you may have found yourself in, MAPPA and even Wit got a lot of hate on Twitter and the internet from toxic and angry fake fans about the animation, art style, and studio shift. Obviously, these people that were vocal were maybe 10 to 20 people with alt accounts trying their hardest to get some attention. In my videos covering the final season week to week, I always talked about how this issue would be overshadowed by MAPPA and the associated staff and company's work, and well, look what happened. Just that. Nobody really cares, and many of their complaints were pretty bad anyways, like MAPPA's use of CGI, which is my next focus of this review. Laying out the foundation so we can understand MAPPA's approach to CGI, they typically outsource this to a studio they work hand in hand with. They've done this going back years now with my favorite anime of 2017, Inuyashiki. Another thing MAPPA has been very smart to do is to make possibly some of the best CGI models in anime right now, outside of studios like Ufotable and Orange, who along with MAPPA are 2 studios leading the charge for high quality CGI. To say the least about their efforts in that department, MAPPA is easily in my top 3 for how they handle CGI, as it's just that good, and that's before AOT. So now with AOT, how did they do with a better budget? While CGI has room to grow in general, which is why I'm such a massive supporter on the cause, AOT's CGI is some of the best out there. Maybe not as good as CGI from studios like Orange or Ufotable, but easily the best CGI that MAPPA has ever produced. It still retains the amazing model designs that the studio which handled them are known for, and now more than ever, the animations for the CGI Titans look kind of exactly the way I'd want it to look. The only issues that I have with the CGI in Final Season is that just how they blend in from a color palette perspective. Now, this doesn't mean like they're colored the wrong way, but I think it may be a very minor texturing issue I'm seeing here. Admittedly, I have no clue how studios work on CGI and what goes into it, and it's something minor I noticed and can't quite put my finger in, so it isn't an issue beyond purely subjectives. I think now is a good time to start diving into the story and writing a final season, as this is the reason most of us watch AOT. The final season, as its title suggests, is to conclude the story, which aged about as well as fine wine when they announced a part 2 as soon as the episode finished airing in Japan. Not a big deal, of course, but it's a rather redundant and funny title. Final season part 1 and 2. So, how is the writing? Well, to put simply, it's one of the best seasons of AOT yet. It has pretty much everything season 3 had, with its incredible out-of-nowhere pacing, big what-the-fuck moments, amazing twists, and subtle callbacks. One of the most important out-of-nowhere moments in AOT ever is none other than the heartbreaking death of the heart of Attack on Titan and everyone's favorite potato girl, Sasha Browse. A shocking death, but not one that's forgotten for a single moment by fans and even the show itself. If they had to kill Sasha, this was, without a doubt, the best way they could do it, as her death starts to set in motion sort of the rest of the season. Eren, Mikasa, Armin, John, Connie, Gabby, Falco, Hange, Nicolo, these are just a few names that Sasha's death affected. This is why AOT has earned its reputation as one of the best written series out right now. Just as an example of a character that was inadvertently affected by Sasha's death almost immediately is one Falco. Friend of Gabby, also voices Tanjiro on the side. As soon as Sasha hits the floor, Falco almost gets shot trying to protect Gabby, gets ganged up on, gets put in a cell, and breaks out only to find himself in trouble again when he and Gabby talk to Nicolo, only to get hit over the head by Zeke's spinal fluid wine and is thus contaminated by it. This is all because of Sasha's death. Her death also has massive effects on both Connie and John independently. Like, for example, Connie now believes Eren is a total piece of shit for getting Sasha killed and feeling no remorse for it, only laughing it off. Then once again, when Eren hurts Mikasa by telling her he always hated her, thus breaking the friendship those two had for so many years, then there is John, who feels like he can't trust Eren but believes that there must be some hidden motive for Eren doing what he's done to the Survey Corps and obviously to Mikasa. Sasha's death has essentially turned Eren's most closest friends into his enemies. The group of Eren, Mikasa, Armin, John, Sasha, and Connie, that's gone. The trust between them now is broken because of Sasha's death. If that death had never happened, I have no doubts in my mind that this group would have joined Eren to become Jaegerists from the very beginning. While Sasha's death was an out-of-nowhere moment that left us in tears and heartbreak, Attack on Titan is also known for its plethora of WTF moments. This season has no shortage of them, like when Reiner confronts Eren in the cellar, capping off with Eren transforming, killing a bunch of innocent people to then only kill more. Reiner and Eren's arc has really been one and the same. Both have such similar paths and motivations, only to be left in some way beaten down to only drift further and further from their original path, even though they may be headed to the same goals. So when they finally meet up to have a conversation for the first time, a series of unlikely events happen. Reiner begs for Eren to kill him in front of Falco for his actions, as he has no happiness left in his life for the series of mistakes and regrets he's made due to actions that he regrets. At one point, Reiner even tried to commit suicide, but stops only because Falco is outside the window. The Armor Titan, the Titan Shifter which had brought Paradis to its knees along with Bertolt and Annie, has fallen to immense lows. Truly a moment I never had expected to see in Attack on Titan. What it led to was arguably even crazier. A full-on battle takes place, and the Warhammer Titan that was built up to be a big reveal is then eaten by Eren merely episodes after she was introduced. Though I must admit, introducing Lara Tiber, a Titan built up as being this amazingly powerful Titan to then be outsmarted by Eren Yeager, is a really unsuspecting but cool move. It showed that this new version of Eren Yeager is unlike any we had previously seen by showing how much smarter and more mature he has become. Obviously, we now know that because of his contact with Historia, that he was able to obtain his father's memories and likely through a weird kind of osmosis gained a lot of that knowledge. This is a change in Eren that is in of itself another one of those WTF moments you never quite expected, but hey, it does. Then the path Eren takes to revealing the friends he once held so dear, they just kind of aren't friends anymore, and that of all people, Mikasa is the one that he hates the most just because of a weird genetic code that she was born with and can't stop. It's saddening, but at the same time, it makes you hate Eren, but also in a weird way has you on edge and waiting to see what he'll achieve next. But AOT has some of the most incredible twists out of any AOT season thus far. The big one, the declaration of war, where Willie Tiber reveals that none other than Eren Yeager is the enemy of Marley. That's one you never saw coming, right? This twist not only supplants Eren as the central antagonist, nearly a decade in the making, but as well leads to some of the most anticipated moments in AOT, like another showdown between Reiner and Eren, the return of the Survey Corps, and an all-time moment when Armin transforms into the Colossal Titan, causing a nuclear detonation-like explosion, killing thousands of innocent Marleyan and Eldian people. The declaration of war may be one of the most important moments in AOT, as it sets in action to what will be the final climactic moments of AOT's story as we know it. All of this wouldn't have been achieved, though, if it wasn't for great characters. Attack on Titan has always been amazing at developing and building up its characters and leaving no stone unturned in regards to their development. The most notable examples in past seasons are characters like Sasha, John, and Connie, who aren't the main characters, but become invaluable members to the plot, getting their own episodes and arcs to develop. This season is no different and offers a few surprises with characters like the controversial Gabby Braun, Falco, and the outstanding Peak Finger. Words cannot describe how amazing even the latter was developed. Introduced technically in Season 3 as just the Cart Titan, a character that I thought wouldn't play any significant role, by the end becomes a key character and one of the most pivotal and memorable moments in all of Attack on Titan. Peak's involvement in Episode 16 is the moment Marley begins their counterattack on Paradis and the Jaegerists. You wouldn't expect that at first from the physically weak Cart Titan, but here we are. Another character I'd like to give love to is Gabby and Falco. This duo has already been through so much together, but I have loved every single moment of their journey. Originally started as just child soldiers with their friends Zofia and Udo, we get to see glimpses of their characters and eventually they start to blossom. Gabby is serious and only focuses on her goals to become the next Armor Titan, but because of that is oblivious to Falco's feelings for her, to eventually Falco fighting to become the Armor Titan so that she won't be subjected to the fate of dying young and getting dragged into the murder of Sasha, to then, well, you know the rest, being dragged to a cell in Paradis only to be dragged out again into another one of Gabby's mistakes when he swallows some of Zeke's spinal fluid. And there are plenty more of these characters I just want to shout out though, as I don't want this review to be over an hour long. Nicolo for his terrific development from a Marleyan soldier who turned into the chef for the Survey Corps that falls in love with none other than Sasha. I find his relationship with Sasha meaningful and important, as it adds a lot more emotional weight to Sasha's death than before. That this girl came into his life and gave Nicolo a purpose to love beyond fighting in a war. Sasha was Nicolo's one, the person who truly completed him, and her death is likely one you'd not expect to affect much, but does, and it's just beautiful writing for a beautiful character. Zeke, for his terrific backstory and continued rivalry and feud with Levi Ackerman. This guy has been one of the most interesting and unique characters in AOT. His backstory of turning his parents in, which leads to Eren being born and setting in motion an incredible turn of events, is one that always has me thinking, but as well his rivalry with Levi is endlessly entertaining, and you can't help but laugh when Levi always wins. Willie Tiber and Lara Tiber are the last ones I want to bring up. Willie feels an immense weight of being in control of the military and duties that have been passed down to him through generations. I don't know, I think most people will forget about him, but I won't, because even though he served his purpose, he still has a lot of impact on the story. And by extension, Lara Tiber was the best looking Mother Isabella to be in this season, so well, there you go. Overall, I think final season part 1 was 16 episodes of pure perfection. I think this season proves to many that Attack on Titan is a once-in-a-generation anime. This is kind of our Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Astro Boy, what have you. And while we have to wait and see what impact Attack on Titan will have on the future of the industry and entertainment at large, I believe that this series will go down as not only one of the greats, but an all-time achievement in storytelling through the anime medium. To put simply, there just aren't many anime that compare to AOT's quality and presentation. Final Season Part 1 is an S-ranked anime, a 10 out of 10. A perfect score. It's the closest it can be to the perfect Attack on Titan experience you can get, and is to me equals with Attack on Titan Season 3 in most every sense. Thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, ring the bell, become a patron, become a channel member, become a plant, become a dog, become whatever you want. As well, be sure to check out my other AOT videos and the others I plan to release in the future. Be there or be square. See you later. Bye-bye.